in a world where everyone is constantly sharing, posting, updating, and broadcasting their every move. Choosing silence becomes a rare and powerful act. Privacy is not about being secretive, mysterious, or antisocial. It is about protecting your inner world from unnecessary influence. It is about valuing your mental peace. It is about keeping a part of yourself that no one can touch, twist, or use against you. When you understand the strength that lies in privacy, you begin to move differently. You walk with a certain confidence. You act with a certain clarity. You operate from a place of control instead of chaos. People's opinions, projections, jealousies, and insecurities can easily interfere with your path when they know too much about you. The more you reveal, the more you open the door to criticism, manipulation, and emotional vulnerability. Not everyone around you is rooting for you. Not everyone wants to see you grow. Some people are waiting for your good news just so they can pray for it to fail. Others pretend to support you while silently hoping you never rise above them. This is why privacy becomes your armor. When people don't know your next move, they can't block it. They can't copy it, interfere with it, or plant doubt in your mind. Keeping your dreams private doesn't make you selfish. It makes you smart. Your vision is fragile in the beginning. It needs protection, not exposure. Plans grow stronger in silence. Ideas mature when they are nurtured quietly. Noise attracts attention, but attention attracts energy. And not all energy around you is good. Privacy also allows you to protect your emotional world. Your personal struggles, disappointments, fears, and failures are not for public consumption. When you share your weaknesses with the wrong people, they turn them into weapons. They use your past against you. They use your vulnerabilities to gain control. They use your honesty to manipulate your confidence. The world is full of people who will smile in your face, but celebrate your downfall behind your back. By keeping your inner battles private, you protect yourself from emotional predators. Your privacy creates emotional independence. When people know everything about you, you start relying on their validation. You begin living for their reactions, their approval, their praise. But when you keep things to yourself, you develop strength from within. You learn to trust your own decisions. You learn to move for yourself, not for applause. This is where inner peace grows, in silence, in solitude, in the parts of your life no one else touches. Another reason privacy is powerful is because it allows you to maintain control over your narrative. Once your personal information leaves your mouth, it no longer belongs to you. It belongs to interpretation, exaggeration, distortion, and gossip. People rarely repeat your story accurately. They add their own emotions, assumptions, and biases. They twist your truth, they reshape your story. And once that happens, you lose control. But when you speak less, you protect your narrative. You keep ownership over your truth. Privacy also gives you mental clarity. When too many people know your business, you start receiving too many opinions. Everyone becomes an expert on your life. Suddenly, your simple goal turns into a conversation with multiple voices in your head. Do this. Don't do that. That won't work. You should try something else. You're risking too much. This noise confuses you. It drains you. It disconnects you from your own intuition. Silence removes that noise. It brings your mind back into focus. It allows you to listen to your own inner voice, the voice that actually knows what's best for you. Privacy is also a sign of self-respect. When you stop giving everyone access to your life, you show that your peace has value. Your dreams have value. Your personal space has value. You no longer let people walk in and out of your emotional home as they please. You choose who enters. You choose who stays. You choose who gets to know the deeper version of you. And that choice gives you power. Privacy doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean pushing people away. It simply means protecting the parts of your life that deserve protection. It means learning what to share and what to guard. It means being open with your heart while being smart with your information. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and noticed, there is a rare strength in the person who chooses to remain mysterious. Mystery is not about pretending or hiding. It's about giving people only what they need to know and keeping the rest for yourself. When people can't fully understand you, they become cautious around you. They become curious. They start respecting your boundaries without you even having to enforce them. Mystery creates a natural distance, a psychological barrier that protects your inner world and elevates your presence. Most people talk too much about themselves. They reveal their thoughts, their plans, their weaknesses, their opinions, and even their insecurities to anyone who will listen. But in doing so, they give away the blueprint of their mind. When people know how you think, they know how to control you. When they know what you fear, they know how to break you. When they know your dreams, they know where to sabotage you. Mystery takes all that away. It keeps people guessing. It keeps them unsure. It keeps you in a position of quiet strength. When you are mysterious, people start respecting you without you asking for it. Why? Because uncertainty commands attention. When people can't predict you, they become more careful with how they treat you. They can't calculate your reactions. They can't assume your thoughts. They don't know how much you know or how little you care. This unknown creates a psychological leverage that people naturally respond to with respect. Think about the people who speak only when necessary, the ones who don't overshare, the ones who maintain a calm presence. They automatically stand out. They carry an aura. They seem powerful even when they're silent. That is the effect of mystery. It makes you look stronger, even if you're still growing. It makes you look wiser, even if you're still learning. Silence and mystery add weight to your presence in any environment. Mystery also protects you from judgment. When people don't know your life, they can't compare themselves to you. They can't measure your progress. They can't compete with a vision they can't see. They can't attack a plan they don't know exists. And they can't gossip about your life when you've given them nothing to talk about. Your silence kills their assumptions before they even start. But mystery isn't only about protection, it's also about power. When you don't reveal everything, people begin filling the gaps with their own assumptions. They may assume you're smarter, stronger, wiser, or more capable than you actually are, simply because you don't show your entire hand. Mystery creates an illusion that often works in your favor. This is not manipulation, it's strategy. It's understanding human psychology. It's knowing that people value what they don't fully understand. Mystery keeps your energy untraceable. In life, the more predictable you are, the easier it is for people to control you. If people know you react emotionally, they push your buttons. If they know you're sensitive about something, they target it. If they know what triggers you, they use it against you. But when you're unpredictable, when they can't read you, they stop trying to provoke you. They become careful. They step lightly. And that's a form of silent dominance. Mystery also keeps your life peaceful. When you're not constantly explaining yourself, defending your choices, or sharing your problems, your mind stays clear. You don't get caught up in unnecessary drama. You don't waste time correcting misunderstandings. You don't feel the pressure to keep up an image. You simply move quietly, observing and understanding more than you reveal. This lifestyle brings freedom, the freedom to be yourself without everyone's opinions weighing you down. Additionally, mystery gives your achievements more impact. When you talk too much, your results lose power. But when you work in silence and let your actions speak, your victories hit harder. People notice real progress much more intensely when they weren't expecting it. You don't have to announce anything. You don't have to prove anything. You just show up with results. And that speaks louder than any words ever could. Being mysterious also strengthens your relationships. When you reveal yourself slowly, people value what you share. They don't take your openness for granted. They don't feel entitled to every detail of your life. They learn to earn your trust. Real connections grow stronger when they are built on respect, not oversharing. Mystery filters out the wrong people and attracts the right ones, those who appreciate depth, patience, and authenticity. Mystery is not about hiding who you are. It's about understanding that you don't owe anyone your entire self. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe access. You don't owe your story to people who haven't earned a place in your life. When you maintain an element of mystery, you create a boundary that protects your heart, your mind, your peace, and your future. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that everyone who listens to them actually cares. The truth is, the more you share about your life, the more you expose yourself to people who do not have good intentions. Oversharing might make you feel open, understood, or relieved for a moment, but in the long run, it attracts the wrong kind of attention. Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Not everyone who asks questions wants the best for you. Some people are simply gathering information, not to support you, but to judge you, compare themselves to you, or use your vulnerabilities against you. In life, intention matters more than attention. Anyone can give you attention: fake friends, jealous relatives, competitive coworkers, or people who secretly want to see you fall. But intention, the true reason why someone wants access to you, is what determines whether or not you should open up to them. Oversharing blinds you to this distinction. When you tell the wrong people too much about your relationships, ambitions, finances, weaknesses, emotions, and struggles, you hand them the tools they need to manipulate you. The dangerous part is that these people rarely show their true colors immediately. They come disguised as listeners, as supporters, as concerned individuals who seem interested in your life. They might even give advice, pretend to be understanding, or act like they're rooting for you. But deep inside, some of them are collecting your secrets like ammunition. And the day you have a disagreement, a misunderstanding, or simply a moment of vulnerability, they use your own words to hit you where it hurts. Oversharing empowers the wrong people with knowledge they never deserve to have. Most of the time, people don't hurt you with their hands. They hurt you with your own information. That is why strong people choose silence. They don't reveal their fears. They don't explain their decisions. They don't broadcast their plans. They keep their emotional wounds private because they understand that the world is full of people who show compassion with their face but envy with their heart. Oversharing also opens the door to competition. The moment you talk too openly about your goals or progress, insecure people start comparing themselves to you. Suddenly, your achievements become a threat. Your progress becomes a problem. Your dreams become something they want to beat. Not because they care about the goal, but because they cannot stand the idea of you getting ahead. Oversharing triggers hidden rivalry in people you never imagined would compete with you. Their smiles stay the same, but their hearts shift. They start watching you more closely, not to support you, but to make sure they don't fall behind. Another problem with oversharing is that it creates expectations. When people know too much about your life, they feel entitled to opinions, judgments, and updates. They start inserting themselves into your decisions. They question your timing, criticize your choices, and comment on your progress. They treat your life as though it belongs to them, and suddenly you find yourself explaining, defending, and justifying things that were never their business in the first place. This pressure drains you emotionally. It distracts you from your goals. It steals your peace. Oversharing also damages your inner confidence. When you constantly talk about your plans, you stop working on them. When you talk too much about your dreams, your brain gets a false sense of accomplishment, as if speaking about it is the same as doing it. It isn't. Words weaken execution, but silence strengthens it. Oversharing replaces action with talk, and talk rarely leads to results. It's also important to understand that many people listen with curiosity, not compassion. They aren't listening to help. They are listening to gather information. They want to know your financial situation, not because they care, but because they want to measure your success against theirs. They want to know about your relationship problems, not to give advice, but to feel better about their own life. They want to know your dreams, not to inspire you, but to compare their dream to yours. Some people even enjoy seeing you struggle because it gives them a sense of control or superiority. And when you overshare, you give them endless material to feed their insecurities or boost their ego. Oversharing is an emotional habit, but it is also a dangerous one. It makes you vulnerable in a world where not everyone values vulnerability. It exposes you to emotional predators. It brings the wrong people closer while pushing the right ones away. It attracts curious minds, gossip lovers, opportunists, and people who lack boundaries. The more they know, the more they take. The more they take, the more they drain you. Strong people stay private not because they are cold, but because they are wise. They choose silence not because they fear judgment, but because they understand that their peace, their plans, and their emotional world are sacred. One of the most overlooked strengths in life is the ability to stay silent and simply observe. In a noisy world where everyone is rushing to speak, rushing to react, and rushing to prove something, silence becomes a form of intelligence. When you choose to stay quiet, you give yourself a rare opportunity, the opportunity to see what others miss. Silence sharpens your awareness. It gives you access to truths that talkers never discover. It reveals intentions, exposes hidden motives, and uncovers energies that words can easily hide. People reveal themselves more through their actions than their conversations. When you stay silent, you allow their behavior to speak louder than their promises. You begin to notice patterns. How someone responds when they're stressed, how they treat people who can't give them anything, how they react to your success, how they behave when they think no one is watching. These small observations tell you more about a person's character than hours of conversation ever could. Silence gives you the power to study people without them realizing it. When you speak too much, you get distracted by your own thoughts, emotions, and opinions. You lose the ability to read the room. But when you are quiet, your mind becomes sharper, your senses become stronger. You notice body language, tone shifts, eye movements, pauses in speech, subtle reactions, all the little details that reveal the truth behind someone's words. This clarity protects you. It helps you avoid fake friendships, hidden enemies, manipulative personalities, and people who are only pretending to care. Silence also gives you emotional protection. When you speak less, you give people less to use against you. Your thoughts remain your own. Your plans stay protected. Your vulnerabilities remain hidden. And when you're not constantly expressing yourself, people stop trying to influence or manipulate your decisions. Silence creates a natural shield that stops others from crossing emotional boundaries. You become harder to read, harder to predict, and harder to exploit. There's power in being the one who listens more than they speak. People trust quiet observers more because they are not trying to dominate the conversation. They are not seeking attention. They are not driven by ego. They simply watch, absorb, and understand, and in doing so, they gain access to priceless insight. They learn who to trust, who to avoid, and who deserves a place in their life. Silence is not emptiness, it is awareness. In silence, you also see the truth about your own life. You understand your emotions better. You feel your intuition more strongly. You notice the habits, the patterns, and the environments that shape your behavior. When the mind is quiet, it becomes honest. It shows you your weaknesses, your strengths, your fears, and your real desires. But when you are constantly speaking, reacting, and explaining, you drown out your own inner wisdom. Silence reconnects you with that deeper voice, the one that actually knows what's right for you. Silence also makes you a better strategist. When you observe first and act later, your decisions become more accurate. You stop wasting energy on impulsive reactions. You begin responding from a place of clarity instead of emotion. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they act without thinking. Silence gives you space to think. It gives you space to plan. It gives you space to understand the situation before you step into it. Observation is the foundation of wise decision-making. Silence can also expose fake support. When you stop talking about your goals, struggles, or opportunities, you begin to see who actually checks on you, who actually cares, and who only shows interest when your life is exciting. The moment you go quiet, people's true intentions appear. The ones who loved the gossip disappear. The ones who wanted information lose interest. But the ones who genuinely care stay. Silence filters your circle better than words ever could. There is also spiritual strength in silence. It teaches patience, discipline, and presence. When you observe instead of reacting, you stop absorbing negative energy. You stop taking things personally. You stop giving importance to every comment or opinion. You start choosing what deserves your attention and what does not. Silence helps you preserve your inner peace by reducing the noise around you. And in silence, you learn that not every action needs a reaction, not every insult needs a reply, not every situation needs your voice, and not every person deserves your explanation. Some things lose power when you ignore them. Some people expose themselves when you say nothing. Some problems solve themselves when you don't interrupt their natural course. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is awareness. It is control. When you allow yourself to slow down, observe, and listen before you speak, you gain the advantage. You begin to move smarter, not louder. You start seeing truth, not illusions. You start understanding people, not just hearing them. Silence becomes your teacher, your shield, and your guide toward better relationships and better decisions. One of the most powerful lessons you can learn in life is this: dreams grow in silence, but they die in noise. In the early stages, your vision is fragile. Your plan is a seed, small, delicate, easily damaged. It needs protection, not exposure. It needs focus, not applause. The moment you share your goals too early, you open them up to judgment, doubt, jealousy, and negative energy. Some people will discourage you, not because your dream is impossible, but because they cannot imagine themselves achieving something similar. Others will question you not to help, but to inject doubt into your mind. And some will secretly hope you fail because your ambition makes them uncomfortable. People don't always attack you directly. Sometimes they attack your confidence. They ask subtle questions like, "Are you sure?" Or, "Is that realistic?" Or, "What if it doesn't work?" And even though these words seem harmless, they plant seeds of doubt. Suddenly, what you believed in strongly becomes something you start second-guessing, not because you are weak, but because you shared your plan with the wrong audience. Your dream didn't fail. It just didn't get the protection it needed. This is why successful people move in silence. They understand that the world is full of dream killers, people who cannot imagine your success, so they try to shrink your vision. They know that early exposure destroys momentum. Every time you talk about a plan, you release the energy you should be using to build it. Talking replaces doing. Words replace action. And excitement becomes a substitute for progress. There's a reason why the most dangerous goals are the ones you never speak about. They remain pure, untouched, and protected from unwanted influence. Your plans are not for everyone. Most people don't even understand their own path. How can they understand yours? They don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. They don't carry the fire that pushes you forward. And because they can't understand your why, they will try to change your how. They will project their fear onto your ambition. They will project their limitations onto your possibility. That's why silence is not avoidance. It is intelligence. Keeping your plans private also gives you freedom. When you announce a goal, you create unnecessary pressure. Suddenly, people start asking for updates, expecting results, and monitoring your progress. This pressure kills creativity and slows growth. But when you work quietly, you have the freedom to experiment, fail, restart, and adjust without anyone watching. Silence gives you room to grow without judgment. It gives you permission to fail, learn, and rise again, without the world keeping score. Silence protects you not only from negativity, but also from energy theft. Every time you talk about your dream, you release excitement. That excitement should be fuel for your execution. But when you waste it on explaining, convincing, or impressing others, you drain the energy needed to make that dream reality. This is why people who talk too much rarely achieve much. Their enthusiasm leaks out through their words instead of being invested in action. And remember this, most people don't want to see you succeed before them. Your progress threatens their comfort. Your courage exposes their fears. Your growth highlights their stagnation. So instead of cheering for you, they subtly discourage you, hoping you stay on their level. This is why protecting your plan is necessary. Not everyone has earned the right to know what you are building. Silence also strengthens focus. When you stop talking about your plans, your mind becomes clearer. Your energy becomes sharper. You stop seeking approval and start seeking progress. You begin working for the result, not for the reaction. You develop discipline because there are no spectators, just you and your mission. That is where real growth happens. That is where real success begins. Successful people reveal their work only when it is too strong to be doubted, too real to be denied, and too complete to be destroyed. They don't announce the storm. They show the rain. They don't talk about the climb. They show the view. They don't brag about the path. They show the destination. At the end of the day, silence is not just a habit, it is a strategy. Your dreams deserve protection from negativity, competition, jealousy, and unnecessary opinions. When you guard your plans, you guard your destiny. Let your actions make the noise. Let your results tell the story. Let your success speak the words you never had to say. Work quietly, grow silently, build patiently. And one day, the world will witness the power of everything you created behind closed doors.